Welcome back to the Fast Break. Friends, it is Tuesday, June 16th, and the New York Knicks are NBA champions. The Knicks closed out the Spurs in 5 games after another double-digit comeback, which should not surprise anybody at this point, to win their first championship in 53 years. Gotta clap it up for them. Finally got it done. Finally got it done. I'll give it to him. It's a long drought, one of the longest droughts in North American sports for championships. Capped off a historic playoff run, one of the best point differentials in a playoff run we've ever seen. Pretty improbable. 3 seed, huge odds going into playoffs. Got it done. Smoked through the playoffs after dropping a couple to Atlanta early on. And yeah, what a great series. I mean, all 5 games came right down to the wire. I don't think I've ever seen a better 5-game series. We deserved to get a 6th or a 7th, but we got 5 phenomenal games. The Spurs just could not close anything out due to mainly Jalen Brunson being the best closer in the game. I'll say it right now, the best closer in the game, doing it for the short guys. He wins Finals MVP, well deserved. Proved that a small guard could lead a team to a championship, be a 1A, silencing the haters, and set New York off into a frenzy. And it's been a hell of a week for New Yorkers so far. But thank you guys for tuning in. We are joined by good friend, basketball savant, football quarterback, or backseat quarterback, I should say, and overall genuine good person, my friend Sterling Recke. Sterling, how are we doing today?
You told a lot of lies right there. I'm doing very. No, you told a lot of lies introducing me. I think a lot of things you said about the Knicks
Right,
were factual.
right.
I'm a pretty big scumbag. Not a basketball savant, but I am a quarterback. But I do like. I'm doing pretty good. I'm in the heart of the beast. I'm in Boston, so I'm in the Northeast. Partying with the Scots, recovering after a week of a bender is what I'd say. They've been buying me some Mickey Lobes, and it's been great. But yeah, we're talking basketball, I guess. I thought we might be talking the World Cup, a little footy ball, and I see you with the is that a Patriots Super Bowl champion shirt? What
Uh,
happened in that
n-
game? I was in a coma.
no, sorry. The Patriots Super Bowl champion shirts are somewhere in Africa. These would actually be the Seahawks Super Bowl shirts that they gave out to fans here in America because they actually won the game. So in pretty dominating fashion as well too. So been a good year for Seattle sports there.
Well, those same fans are about to get themselves some Spurs shirts. So, uh, they're gonna have some very. It's gonna feel like I guess never mind. The Spurs and the Patriots didn't lose usually in the same year. They used to win all the time.
Mm.
So those fans aren't used to getting that merch. They're used to getting other teams' merch. So
I mean,
congratulations to the fans getting the runner up merch.
yeah. I mean, should we talk about that? A lot of similarities, young phenom, Drake May, Victor Wembanyama, young coach, I
I thought
guess.
you were going to say the similarities between the Knicks and the Seahawks. A short guard and a ginger quarterback. You don't really get that happening often. No, I think
Shout out
I
to
think there
Ginger
are.
Cuts.
I think there is a lot of similarities between the two teams because the Spurs, of course, a year too early. It feels like
Mhm.
the Patriots a year or two too early based around their rebuild, but um the Knicks and the Seahawks have nothing in common. The Seahawks look like a dominant force that probably will be right in the thick of things this year. The Rams look incredible, but this isn't a football podcast. The Knicks could be back. I think their team is built for a uh, sustained run of like being really good. But I would like to see what our Celtics do. I want to see what um it really what the West does. That's kind of it's really if the Celtics are able to pull off a trade and get Giannis, that looks like a likely landing spot. And if they're healthy, they're going to be the overwhelming favorite of the East. But in the West, it's we'll see if the Spurs are able to offload De'Aaron Fox or if he's healthy next year. And then the Thunder are going to be amazing. I don't think people are counting them out a little too quickly. Timberwolves will reload. Uh, of course, Jokic will still be there, and there's a chance LeBron goes to the Warriors, and you can have an old man team try to do something. So, my thought process is for the Knicks. I hate the Knicks. I hate everything New York, but I do tip my hat to them because this was a historic team. They're going to all live, um, not in infamy. They're going to all live forever famous in the city. It was a really
Infamy.
good team. Yeah, infamy. And so I do think that Jalen Brunson, uh, there's been a lot of talk of where he ranks all time as a Knick. I probably would say he's the first or second best of all time. It's not Ewing. I mean, like that's what his dad was saying. Sorry, Rick. It's not Patrick Ewing. It's probably your son or Walt Frazier. But I understand not saying your son. That's how you probably raised him. You probably said, "Hey, you make 25 threes in a row. You make a 26th, or you go right back and shoot 25 more. That's how you want to be great."
Do you know why Rick Brunson said Patrick Ewing is the greatest Knick of all time?
Did Patrick Ewing have a gun to his head when he said
No,
that?
no, but possibly. Back in 2014, Rick Brunson got arrested at a massage parlor that he was checking into under the name of Patrick Ewing
Oh,
and ended up getting arrested there. Um,
hmm.
and so I think he's got a lot of IOUs to Patrick Ewing currently. So that was a crazy story that just got unearthed a couple days ago. But yeah, let's scumbag Rick Brunson. But hey, hell of a dad, raised his son to be an NBA champion and finals MVP and lead the Knicks back to the finals since the first time since he was there. So there was a lot of cool storylines with that, at least I'll say. I gotta give it to Brunson. I mean, there's a lot of hyperboles going on right now, but at the very least, we can say one of the best acquisitions of the last 10 years. Whenever you're able to acquire a Finals MVP, I mean, you got to look at the LeBrons, the Kawhis, guys that went to new teams and immediately won championships. He's in that ilk now. Uh, One of the best closeout game performances I've ever seen, and probably there ever has been. 45 points, 29 in the second half, 15 straight from him at one point. Um, just remarkable. Could not be stopped. I mean, was going right at Wemby as well too, dribbling right around him, doing off balance finishing by the rim. Nobody's better kind of, I guess, at angles than Jalen Brunson is. Because, I mean, this is a guy that's listed at 6'2", I want to say is what he's listed at. He's barely 6 feet tall. It is very impressive what he's doing. And the first short guy to do it since Steph, but I know we're like, nobody's really considering Steph in that argument because of it's the shooting really that gets him open. And it's kind of an anomaly. So I
Hmm.
guess before then you could say it would be um, Isaiah Thomas at that point. So uh, just kind of incredible by him. And now we've got all the hyperboles of is he the greatest Nick of all time? Hard to argue against it. I don't know. I still think I'd go with one of those guys that got 2 rings as far as like Willis Reed. Um, Ewing is a tough Ewing's a tough one as well too because I mean, he's got like 10,000 more points for the Knicks, but he never got over the hump. Um, so it's a tough comparison. How many points is a championship worth? If you ask any of the fans that have waited 53 years, I think they would say it covers all those thousands and thousands of points that Patrick Ewing was ahead of Brunson. But um,
I think it.
nonetheless, great
I think
run
it
by him.
probably be Walt Frazier is is the guy that everybody says is in the three-headed monster. It's
Walter
Frazier, Ewing,
Willis.
and yeah, Willis Reed. I mean, he has a famous broken leg game, but my view on Brunson, it hasn't really changed from I tried to be level-headed on the winners and just eviscerate the losers, right? I'm really angry at Wemby, and De'Aaron Fox, but the 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 way I look at Brunson is I see how the Ringer put out their top players and they put him at number 4. Okay, he's not the 4th best player in basketball. I'm not going to let a playoff run do that. He's probably around the 10th to 15th best player in the league, but he had an amazing playoff run, and I genuinely think very few players can play at that level consistently in big moments. Uh, Obviously, he's done this sustained for a couple of years. I think he is really, really special. And when you talk about one of the greatest acquisitions of all time, I don't know where I'd rank him in terms of that, but free agent signings, I think he's either 3rd or 4th best ever. And that's easily top 5. I think that the first 2 are very obvious. It's Shaq to the Lakers, and then I would say probably you could put LeBron twice. It's probably LeBron to the Heat, and then LeBron back to the Cavs. KD to the Warriors is the one where I'd rank Brunson or KD, and that's the between those two. But I mean, Brunson doing this, not signing, basically signing for way under the max, a budget player kind of is what
Best
makes him
contract
so.
in sports.
Yeah, and it's just a different type of uh he the Mavericks, if we're gonna go really about this, they screwed the pooch so heavily, right, about all these players. They could have had Brunson and Luca, and obviously defense would have still been a problem. But you just surround those two with OG Anunoby, Bridges, and Mitchell Robinson, and guess what? You're winning. You're winning. You're on a streak of winning probably 2 or 3 rings there. And it's not like he didn't show it with Dallas. Everybody knew he was really good. They just
That
obviously not this good, but
that Western Conference Finals run right before he left, where Luka was a little bit injured and he carried them for a bit, showing what he could do in the playoffs. And I think they thought that was a fluke and that they were selling high on him. They
they
just did
didn't get
not want to
anything
pay
for
him.
him.
The Knicks were like, "We will absolutely give you that contract." Just smart, just smart team building. No, yeah, the big loser in all this is the Mavs again. Just having to watch a player that was in your building that didn't necessarily want to leave, didn't ask out, could have been had for a reasonable price, winning Finals MVP. That's really tough look. And Nico Harrison, GM of the year, baby, GM of the year. But I think it's tough to. I don't want to go super hyperbolic with Brunson just because none of this happens if they don't have a incredible team built around him. I mean, you had OG, who's got the championship experience, comes in and makes. I mean, Brunson on a miss is now going to be right after that is going to be remembered as the greatest play in maybe in Knicks history with the tip, the OMG from OG tip, just the tip OG, whatever you want to say. Um, Hand of God, hand of OG. All right, I think that's all I got out of my system there. Greatest tip potentially I've ever seen. Pause. And Mikal Bridges, fuck them picks. 5 first-round picks, doesn't matter anymore. They're not gonna be worth a ton. Alvarado came in and swung a couple of games. Shamet picking him up. I thought he was gonna be out of the league 2 years ago. And now he was their 3rd leading fourth quarter scorer in this finals. Brunson, OG, Shamet. And let's not forget about the entire run up to that. He was lights out in the Cleveland series. And then of course Towns for Randall, which was heavily scrutinized at the time. And even the year after they acquired him because, they didn't get the job done. Towns was good in the playoffs, obviously pretty tough finals, really bad closeout game. Really bad closeout game for basically the entire team besides OG. They only scored 95 points and he had 45 of them. So, I mean, almost half their points in a closeout game. It really was some Michael Jordan shit. So, not to take anything away from Brunson, but this roster construction by Leon Rose and Worldwide West is just a phenomenal, phenomenal job without any top picks. known crazy good picks. Like they just acquired guys that they thought would work in their system and that they could build around a smaller, undersized guard, shooting, phenomenal defense, and spacing. Um, and they created really the best top. Oh, I just hit my mic. That's probably going to sound terrible.
No, it
Just
did sound
created.
bad.
Okay, good. Can't make any mistakes today. Just created probably the best top to bottom roster in the playoffs that was healthy. Still probably top to bottom. It's still probably OKC. Um, but yeah, got to give the Knicks their flowers, man. They were phenomenal. Um,
Yeah, you didn't shout out, who I think is the orchestrator of everything, James Dolan, of course, Jim. He is one of the greatest owners in sports, and of course, friends of the president. And we
friend of the
wouldn't be
pod.
here, friend of the pod, and we would not be here without Donald J. Trump. So, uh, thank you to both James and Don. But
They didn't even
this is
watch. They were too busy having a UFC fight and riding motorbikes out in front of the White House this weekend.
I didn't watch the UFC event because I was busy partying with Scots at Fenway. And let me tell you,
That's the American dream right there.
yeah, well, it really was. But the 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 whole entire construction of this roster, I did not think it was going to work. I did not think they would win a finals. It was I thought it was smart to do this because they could never sign free agents. So I understood them taking these swings and trading all their picks. I could not believe the amount they gave up for Bridges. I like the Towns trade. I don't know why people were ranking Randall the way they did, even though he's revitalized his career as well. But Towns is a former first overall pick. He's clearly talented. He's got problems where he fouls too much, and um, the defense leaves something to be desired. But he's a great rebounder, and he's a great scorer. I don't know why anybody's been super far out on him. That seemed like a little to give up for him. Whereas you see what like Rudy Gobert got in a trade and what Bridges got in a trade, and some of these other people that have been going for 3 or 4 first round picks. OG is a perfect wingman to have for a Brunson type player. Where um, Brunson, all the praise. I don't want to give him any hate on this, but he is not a good defender. But when you have somebody like OG and Bridges, um, being able to surround, you can really funnel plays outside of Brunson, so Brunson can get hidden on defense, and that not many other teams have that when they have a guy that's kind of a traffic cone out there. Um, Obviously, you see like the Lakers. The Lakers are looking for people like that could be able to hide bad defense from some of their stars. So I think the roster construction was great. I think getting all the Villanova boys was awesome because they have chemistry. This is really something that I mean, other podcasts have talked about this. You really want to start building long term because the amount of real stars in the NBA is 4 to 7, and if you don't have one of those guys, you either have to hope you get blessed in the draft with the first pick or the second pick, and one of those guys blasts off, right? Like AJ DeBansta might. If you get a Wimby, if you get a Cooper Flag, you have to hope those guys really hit the lottery, no pun intended, or it's going to have to be roster building like this, where you get guys that like each other, that like playing with each other, and are willing to play together for 3, 4, 5 years because that's how chemistry gets built. And maybe we're going back into that era of basketball, especially with the salary cap and the CBA, because you don't want to be in the second apron and be fucked cap structure wise. So I do think that the roster building here is tremendous, and even if they didn't win the finals, because I don't think they were the better team. By the way, they it's crazy that they won in 5 games. If they won the series, it should have been a 6 game, 7 game. It should have been a 7 game series. The Spurs easily handled three of their losses, and they just choked down at the stretch. They got winded, they got gassed. They're a young team, but um. I think that really what brought them in the finish line is they know how to finish games. They've played together a long time, and they didn't panic when they were at the last couple of minutes. And Brunson is really, really good in those situations. Whereas the Spurs, they didn't have a closer, and Wimby's never going to be that. By the way, people are wanting him to take that next step. The next step for Wimby is getting his oxygen down, okay, and understanding how to breathe better at 7'7" and being in the clouds. But like, he's never going to be able to shoot. He's never going to be Kevin Durant as a closer. He's too awkward. You could just tell. Like he's 9 feet tall. It's his body is not coordinated enough to be that. But they needed a closer and they didn't have one. Jalen Brunson, he's a closer. So
Yeah.
and if you have a closer, you got a closer, right? Think of it like baseball. Some teams don't got a closer. That's not good if you don't.
Yeah,
So
I know. Mariners, specifically. But no, I mean, I disagree a little bit. I do think he can be a closer. I think because he can shoot free throws and shoot threes, I think he just needs he needs better conditioning, obviously. He was looking winded. He also needs a point guard. I'm feeling very validated this last week that I've never really fully been on the Fox train. I I thought more Sabonis was the reason for that year of success in Sacramento. I didn't think Fox was going to move the needle a ton for San Antonio when they got him. And I feel very validated. And look, the guy had a good year, don't get me wrong. But obviously he was just dog shit in the finals. And I mean, was every time he shot, I was just screaming at my TV. I thought he every time he shot, he felt validated to shoot for some reason. I thought Miss Johnson needed to absolutely just pull him because if he's gonna shoot, not realizing how cold he was, then that's the sign of a very, very stupid person. I think he's really dumb. I legit just think he's dumb. And then you go look at the fucking interviews afterwards. He does when he didn't pull that ball out with OG coming to block him in game 4 and he didn't realize what he had done. He didn't realize what the right decision was in that scenario. I think De'Aaron Fox is just not a smart person. I think he's dumb. And you clearly saw it again today. He has no leadership or control of the game at all. He's clearly the most veteran person on the court. He let a 29-point lead slip away while allowing the team to jack up threes early in the play clock. He just makes bad decisions, and, he handled the ball fairly well, but he would handle the ball fairly well, get the ball back, and then chuck up a three, not realizing he's 1 for 8 in the game on threes. Um, and so that was just it just can't be Fox. But I do think Wemby can close out games, and it'll be him and Dylan Harper, hopefully starting next year, and Fox won't be on the roster anymore. I'm taking any decent offer I get for that guy. I think 2 of those games are different if Fox just doesn't play in the fourth quarter. Legitimately.
well, yeah, probably. I mean, they were super close down down at the wire, and the thing is, who was the worst player in the finals? It was very obviously De'Aaron Fox. I don't think there was anybody even close. I'm sure you could look at plus minus, and there's going to be somebody on the Knicks that had a bad plus minus, but De'Aaron Fox had to be just the worst on the Spurs. I mean, he was terrible. When I look at it though, when it comes to Wemby, like this is Wemby's team. I don't want to be like again hyperbolic and reactionary towards Wemby's play. He is by far the best defensive player in basketball. He's basically Rudy Gobert if Rudy Gobert took HGH, and they're both from France. Who knows? Who knows what's in their cereal? But the thing is, he is unbelievable on the defensive side of the ball. The way that he's able to pretty much guard the entire court because of his freakish limbs. But offensively, I really don't know if it's ever going to grow from what it is. It could. I could be way like I could just be an asshole and say like,
Oh,
well,
come
I saw.
on. He's 22, dude. He's 22.
How's he going to get better? How's he going to get better like athleticism or stamina? How does that grow when you've already been a pro athlete since you were basically 15? He's been doing these tournaments and stuff forever.
Your stamina can always get better. Just different forms of training. Figure it out. You can always get your stamina better. I think with him, it comes down to he needs a move, obviously, whether it's like, you know, a sky hook or something like that. He needs to and it will come with confidence level as well too, and just experience of where to be on the court. Um, he's obviously going to get better. Like he's not going to. This is not the best Wemby we're ever going to see. Like he will get things in his bag. I know he's been a pro for a long time, so it kind of feels like, oh, he's a finished product. But there's still going to be little things that he's going to be able to get better at.
Yeah, I'm not saying that he's gonna be a bum going forward. I think he's gonna be a top Victor Wembanyama. I think he's gonna be a top. I think he's gonna be a top 5 player for the next 8 to 10 years. That's like the base of his abilities, and I think there's a real shot that he is an all-time great, and he's like on a Mount Rushmore level type trajectory just because of his size and stuff. But the real fear is that you see in these playoffs, outside of the first game against OKC, where it went to double overtime and he played 47 minutes and he was fine, he just wound down in every single one of these games that went into the fourth quarter. You're right, you could increase your stamina. I was a fat fuck when I was a teenager and I lost a lot of weight, and now I'm able to play tennis for 5 hours. Well, Wimby's a skinny guy. I don't think he can lose the weight to get his stamina up. So it's like he needs to figure it out, because I do think that I've never seen like a 22-year-old just be totally gassed unless they have like a history of like cramping or something, right? LeBron had that issue very, very early, and then he just had to, drink like pickle juice or something during the game, and he never had that again. He figured that out after the 1 year. I don't think Wemby was cramping. I don't know. I think it's like he's gonna have to probably see doctors or something to figure out why he got gassed so bad at the end of those games. Maybe he was sick, but like I, it was a very odd thing because the entire team just like totally collapsed in those fourth quarters, and I've not seen teams do that. Celtics kind of did it last year, but they they just missed threes. It wasn't like they were actually they just didn't switch how they played. The Spurs literally couldn't hit shots. They missed free throws. They tightened up their butts, but it was more so they just played bad all around. They were like getting lazy on defense, and maybe it's that he just needed to sit for like 3 or 4 minutes. But he was the team was too nervous to not have him in there because of how centric they are on defense around him. But I don't know. It was very odd. It was very odd how they choked these games away the way they did. They had such huge leads.
Very odd. What's going on? Um, well, I think part of the reason is this guy played 25 minutes a game throughout the entire season. And then these intense playoff games came and he's up to 35, 40. And nothing can really compare you or get you ready for the playoff struggles. And it was his first playoff run. It was 6 out of the 8
That's
top
true.
guys' first playoff run, and it's just different.
That's true.
That's why it was so surprising. Like, are the Spurs actually going to do this in their first playoff run with all these young guys? And it finally came to a head after, a really tough 7-game series against OKC, which I don't think had no effect on them. I think they were gassed and beaten up from that series. And you got to play a Knicks team that had just swept 2 teams real easy. And I think that made the difference. If the Spurs had the same path the Knicks had, and the Knicks got through the same path that the Spurs had, I think the Spurs win that series because they're not nearly as gassed. You saw it with the first, games. He only had 1 game off in between, and he was just tired. And then in game 4, he plays 44 minutes. And then in game 5, he looks tired after the initial go. And this team is young. So like they look like just a bunch of kids, at a party that basically drink a whole fifth of tequila as soon as the party starts, get absolutely shithoused, and they're all puking by 11:30 because they just completely blew their load at the beginning. And that happened game after game after game, and they just could not adjust. And it also was on Mitch Johnson, who this is his first real time being in charge in a playoff run, even though he's been around for a while now, or a little while. So there's gonna be a lot of things. There's gonna be a lot of things that they learn, but it seems like one of those ones where they went to the party and blacked out by 11 p.m. and next time they're gonna be like, all right, starting off with some light beer next time. All right, we're gonna start off with some Lobes and some Coors Lights. We're not going straight to shots like they did in game 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, where they had double-digit leads, I think, in every single game. So it's just a learning experience for them. But I think they're gonna come back and be stronger, and we'll see if they make any roster moves. They might not make any roster moves, so it'll be interesting.
I'm in the trade machine right now, by the way. I'm
Oh
in
boy,
there right now.
what you cooking?
I'm trying to get Jaylen Brown to them and then Giannis to the Celtics. I'm trying to see how we could get that done. Yep, you could do it. Okay, so then it's just the picks.
Who do the
Okay,
Celtics?
the Celtics are getting Giannis.
Oh, Giannis, and then
Yeah, they'd get Jaylen Brown, and then the Bucks would take basically De'Aaron Fox, and Harrison Barnes is the other person I threw in, and then they're just getting every single pick you can get. It's saying the Bucks would add 7 wins, by the way, in this situation by getting rid of Giannis and getting De'Aaron Fox and Harrison Barnes, losing Giannis,
yeah.
and it's
Well,
saying the
I mean,
Spurs would get 4 more wins, but
to be fair, Giannis barely played last year, so I mean,
that's fair, I
say,
guess.
say what you will about De'Aaron Fox, at least he plays all the time. Now, some people did say he was injured, so we'll see. He might come out next year and have a great year, just because that high ankle sprain maybe wasn't fully healed. But we'll see. I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt for
There's just no way he'll be
a
on the
little
team
bit.
next year. They were talking about Castle wanting to play more, and Mitch Johnson. I would fire the shit out of that coach. I don't
It
care
was
that he made
bad.
the finals. Like this is where there's talks about all these types of coaches, NBA coaches that they're quick to pull the trigger on them. I mean, Tiago Splitter is right out there. I know he just signed with the Bulls. That's one where you just say, Mitch, see ya. We're getting Tiago. But like Popovich is out there. I know he's not the healthiest right now, but you got you got to
Oh
you got
my
to take a
god!
look. Well, I love Pop. Um, Phil Jackson, Mike Brown. Nobody thought Mike Brown would ever do what just happened. You gotta take some risks here. Phil Jackson, run the triangle with Wemby.
What
Try it.
about Bob Knight? Is Bob Knight still available?
He's still with us. Krzyzewski, he's not
Yeah,
coaching.
Coach K.
Coach K could
Never
coach
did in the
Wemby.
pros. Never did in the
Yeah,
pros. Is Coach K overrated? Is he scared?
Belichick will go coach different sport.
Hugh Jackson?
Hugh Jackman, he could play a coach. Let's do it. But the coach, Mitch Johnson, he said afterwards, he was talking about how it was a tough year for Castle. He played in the G League at some point. He was clearly the better player there, and they didn't let him play until Game 5 in the clutch time. De'Aaron Fox, like you said this whole time, the way he was answering questions, he's like pompous and cocky, and it's like you could do that if you're the one. If you can do that if you're not the reason you're losing. And then still I'm going to be like, oh, I don't know about all this. But he was the reason they're losing. And then he's answering questions like, oh, no, it's the Spurs that lost. You know, and when like Chet did that in the series prior with OKC, when it's all like, no, the Thunder lost. It's like, well, Chet, you know, you only took 2 shots and you played some shitty defense. You're kind of the reason you lost. You can also blame Jalen Williams for not playing, if you would like. If you want to blame the second best player, you could say, well, Jalen needs to get out there. That wouldn't be a good look, but you could do that. If De'Aaron
Second
Fox
and
wants to...
fourth, AJ Mitchell was out too. I mean, look, the Spurs are so much better off if they just lose that game 7 to OKC and they're like, great year. Didn't have the guys quite yet. We're too young. But now it's like it's like the Patriots losing in the Super Bowl. Like,
Yeah,
probably would have been better off just losing the conference finals.
Yeah, I know that's what Simmons I think said yesterday. But the thing, I disagree about that.
It's also good championship experience to make it.
Yeah, you get to the
take your
game.
lumps.
You get to the game. You get to the games in this. You lose it. You lose it. I mean, the Spurs were a good. They were legitimately close to winning any of these games.
Yeah.
The Patriots, I know it was a blowout, but still, anything can happen in one game of football. So you want to play that game. I mean, it's not like there was a chance in that third quarter. It got a little close. I know it got a little dicey there for Seahawks fans. Just if we're remembering that just a little bit ago. You know it. You know you got a little
I
scared there at
know.
one
I know.
point.
I got you, though. I got
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. No, no, no. I know. But I'm just saying I'm not hey, I'm not gonna get scared. But I think when it comes to getting there, it's very easy to say if the Spurs would have lost, things would have just been easier going into next season. They would have. It also would have probably made them not have to think about making a move. I think they should be extremely urgent. They're the favorite to win the finals next year. I think that's
Yeah.
insane. It should be OKC and then it should be Boston. And that's the two best teams going into next season. Um, Missoula has choked some insane series, but
Mhm.
Boston's been the best team in the East and they have the best Eastern roster without Giannis. They're going to probably add him. I think that's what it's pointing towards. If the Spurs can add Giannis, the Spurs will then be the rightful favorite. If the Spurs can add a Jaylen Brown, if the Spurs can add an actual wing or a guard, I don't think they need a guard with Castle, but if they added a wing, that makes them a legitimate. If they can add a top 30 player to Wimby and Castle and Champagny, and all they have to get rid of is De'Aaron Fox's contract, Harrison Barnes's contract, and picks, and they can add something that will swing right in with Wimby and build right there. That's what they thought they were getting with De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron
Mhm.
Fox is not he's not that guy. So I mean, like they can easily make this swing, and I think if you're a team that's on the brink, you want to take big swings because we see there's 8 different championship teams that have won over the last 8 years. The NBA is now becoming a parity-filled league,
Mhm.
and you aren't going to get these bites of the apple every single year. You think you will with Wimby. You thought you would with Jokic. You think you will with SGA. I thought we were with Tatum. But
Mhm.
the thing is, it doesn't seem like it's happening for these teams over and over and over again. So I think you need to take your swings. Hopefully the Spurs do. I don't want them to get Giannis, but I want to. Hopefully they get. Hopefully they do actually take a swing here. I don't think Giannis would be a good player for this roster either. By the way, defensively it'd be incredible, but they should
Yeah.
get a shooter. Is what they need. They need a
Yeah.
bucket getter. But that's my outlook. So winning that game against OKC, that's g- good because it taught them lessons here. OKC should also be looking at that too. Like, ooh, we should look maybe to get. Chet's also incredible defensively, but that was like a breaker for him. Like that series kind of broke Chet. If we're
Mhm.
being honest, that looked like a legit demoralizing kind of. I'm looking at him differently, and I understand that if everybody was healthy, if they had all their team healthy, they're probably winning that series. So you know, and they're probably going to beat the Knicks if they were healthy because they were by far the best team in basketball last year.
Mhm.
It's kind of weird, right? How the sliding doors here of everything.
Yeah, I mean, and this is a big off season. There's going to be some moves that probably affect the championship next year. Where Giannis goes. The funny thing about Giannis overall is like this dude could really just be like, I want to go back to Milwaukee, and they'll just keep him, and that's it because they haven't. When Kareem left, it was 50 years before they got back. Or 40 something, I think. So
Mhm.
they're never going to let him go if he doesn't want to. So it's interesting. Fox, the issue with him is like, dude, he's got 4 years, $220 million coming up.
Mhm.
I mean, dude, it's massive. It's a massive, massive contract for a guy that is probably not a top 30 player in the league. And that's a massive contract. Um, which is going to make it tough to send him anywhere. You're going to have a really desperate team that needs a point guard. Maybe Sacramento, but they'll never do it. They're not going to do that. I've seen like Brooklyn and stuff like that, but it'll be interesting to see if anybody puts their hat in the ring and I don't think anybody is. I think he's going to be there next year because that's such a massive contract that I don't, any smart GM's not going to want to get in that business, but there are stupid GMs. But Chicago changed their front office. Chicago seems like a team that would have loved to be in on the De'Aaron Fox business. Sacramento's not going to want him back, and he's not going to want to go to Sacramento. So there you go. You take out two of the dumbest teams of the last 20 years or so. So that makes it a little bit tougher there for sure. You take a look at Brooklyn as well too, but I just don't think there's going to be many suitors. And at the end of the day, if the offer's terrible, the 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 Spurs are just going to hold on to him. So we'll see.
Well,
But yeah, I
I
mean,
mean,
at the end of the day, Wemby was just not impactful enough. They dominated a lot of the quarters of this series, but not the ones that mattered. I mean, we got the first, third, and fifthest big third, fourth, and fifth biggest. I don't know. I said fifthest
was that French?
comeback
Was that French?
in what'd you say?
Was
No.
that French?
In finals history. So they were right there. They had him on the ropes in 3 different games, and they won one of them. So I mean, it's just that could have been in an alternate universe where Wemby's more prepared and Mitch Johnson makes good decisions. That's like a 4-0 sweep for San Antonio, which is the crazy part of all this. So I don't know if you make that many changes. I think you just probably end up benching De'Aaron Fox and starting Dylan Harper, who clearly was the best player at that position in the finals. So we'll see.
Yeah, you're not wrong. There if they really want to get off that contract, they'll be able to. They have picks that they can trade, and then they'll just throw those in because a team,
Right.
like the entire way teams are going to have like it goes back to it. There's teams that you just see these teams that are always in the lottery, and they're going to look at De'Aaron Fox, who is not that old yet, and say like, well, he's fine. If we add him, we get somebody else. We get lucky in the lottery once. This is a team that can actually grow, and that's going to be what happens. I really think if the trade machine, if you just go through it, you can find a team. Obviously, the salaries have to match, but really the move is every single first round pick that the Celtics have, every single first round pick that the Spurs have, goes to the Bucks for the next however many years. De'Aaron Fox and Harrison Barnes go to the Bucks. Jaylen Brown goes to the Spurs. Giannis goes to the Celtics, and that's the trade. And that works. That would be the trade.
Yeah. I'm still not in on the Giannis thing. I think I'd rather just have Jaylen Brown. I don't know. I haven't seen a healthy playoff run from him in a while, so I just don't trust it. Now he'd have to play
Fair.
less minutes because it's the Celtics. He'd have to play a lot less minutes because it's the Celtics, and we actually have other players and another star. So the burden on him would be lessened quite a bit. Only play him 20 minutes in the regular season. He probably gets through a playoff run. Um, and I mean, look, it's Giannis. The domination and the fear that he instilled in us, like in 2022, was just unbelievable. I mean, when he's on, he's right there with anybody in the league. When he's on, he's arguably the best player in the league, and it's hard to turn that down when it's a guy who clearly can't get you out of the first round if he's your 1A. So take that how you will.
Yeah, and I'm not saying you have to make the move for Giannis if you're the Celtics or any other team, but I do think that it's kind of losing that game 7 against Philly. That was, to
Brutal.
me, there has to be moves that are made. And the only move that actually changes anything is you kind of have to split up the Jays. And that's going to be sad. It's going to be heartbreaking. I love that I'm seeing Jaylen Brown in China, walking the Great Wall, learning some things. But like the thing is, obviously I'm Team Tatum, so you're not going to move him, and he's younger,
Yeah,
and I
me
think he's a
too.
lot better. Even though Jaylen Brown had a great year last year, I think that the whole thing that Jaylen did after the season when he did the podcast, or the stream, I was like, oh,
Yeah,
I don't know about that. That's kind of, it made it a lot easier. But I do think when it comes into like teams making moves, I still think next year it's going to be like a 4-team race. I don't think, I kind of look at this Knicks championship as the Warriors when they won theirs. It really just feels like this is a one and done. I know it's not a last hurrah. They're going to be a good team next year. They're going to win 50, 55 games, but it just doesn't feel like they're going to be they don't have the power to get back here unless things break the right way. And I just don't think it's going to break again their way like it did this year. I could be way off. I could just be a hater, but I don't think I am. I don't think I'm being a hater here.
Yeah, I mean, look, let's give the Knicks their flowers. Incredible championship run. Did something that was extremely difficult to do in the city of New York, which is win a championship. It's their first major one since 2011. Unfortunately, also against ya boys. Gosh, you're taking shots this pod. Um,
Oh
and then
yeah,
just
who won in 2011? I was, I was like,
oh,
which one was that? I was trying to think. I was like, the Yankees were 2009. I
that'd
was
be the
like,
New York Giants over the New England Patriots. New
yeah,
England.
yeah, I
Okay,
remember that.
sorry, but what I was saying is it hadn't been done in a long time. Obviously, Brunson now is the full-fledged king of New York. Carl Anthony Towns completely changed the narrative around him. I mean, this was a guy that I thought was a uh, big stats, bad team guy, big cat, big bodega. Now all his like kind of zesty stuff is cooler because he's a champion and he did it in the playoffs and he had big games. And I mean, look, that game two he had for like the first half was one of the best, maybe the best half of basketball he ever played. So props to him. OG now is like a mythical hero in two different cities. I mean, he didn't do anything in the Toronto run close to what he did in this run, but still, uh, just a championship kind of guy. And now is probably a Hall of Famer. I mean, he went from like this guy is a role player that got really lucky to be on that Toronto team to now he's probably going to be a Hall of Famer because of the acts he did and the guys voting that are going to be from New York and whatnot 10 years down the road. And his highlight package will be like, oh, OG Anunoby was a problem. And you'll have enough highlights mixed with big moments to get him in. And then, like I said, Shamit, Bridges,
Also a Hall
Alvarado.
of
Like,
Famer, Shamit.
no, not Hall of Famers. God sham it. Um, but I mean, just a loaded, great roster. I mean, like Deuce McBride, like they really took on the heart of New York, and they were gritty and they were tough, and sometimes a little bit dirty, and they were just they were just the toughest mentally and physically team this year, I would say, and they deserve it. And they'll be honestly, their title will be remembered more than probably 80% of championships just because it's New York, it's a basketball city, and it means more, and the way they did it and the series itself.
Yeah, I don't remember last year's championship. I know it was OKC
Ugh.
beat Indiana, but I don't remember it at all except for Halliburton Game 7. Uh,
In
I
game
remember
one, don't forget that
Yeah,
comeback.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I remember bits and pieces, but it's like that's gonna be forgettable because it's OKC in Indiana. Sorry.
Mm,
I remember obviously the Celtics, but again, that's just like memorable. That's memorable because it's like the team that I like.
mm.
That's a great basketball team, but again, I don't know how memorable it is from a standpoint of it is memorable, but that's not the same as this. What was the year before that? That was Jokic, the Nuggets.
21 or no, sorry, 23 was Jokic,
That's
22
very forgettable.
yeah, because Miami sucked.
Yeah.
22 was Warriors, Celtics, which is fairly memorable. We've blocked it out of our memory, but for most people, that series did have some aura to it, and it was like the
Mhm.
Warriors getting back to the mountaintop after the dynasty was over was very impressive. 21 is Bucks, kinda. I
Eh,
don't know, it's because it's Giannis. I liked Giannis at the time. 2020 Lakers, I mean, that's memorable just because it was COVID, but
bubble.
not a good series. Not a good series and asterisk, major asterisk. 19 definitely will remember just because it was like Toronto and it was that Kawhi situation. But the series itself, no. The series itself, no.
all I remember from the series is Drake acting like he was so sad when people were getting hurt. And it's like I am the same way when my team's winning, where I'm like, I want to beat them when they're fully healthy.
Yeah, yeah,
But the
it's
thing
so easy
is,
to act like a good sport when you're winning.
yeah, that's exactly what he's doing. I mean, he actually knows these guys, so maybe he felt bad because I feel like if I had a friend that tears his Achilles, I'd be like, well, that fucking sucks. Even
Yeah,
if I want to beat them in the sport, but I still wouldn't give a reaction like that because he was drunk. So it's like, dang it, I have to really show myself. I don't
yeah,
remember anything from the games except I was very happy that the Warriors did not win. Um, and then I remember the off season. That's what I remember from that because it was
yeah,
the Kawhi sweepstakes and
right,
the Anthony Davis trade, and
right,
that's and or the that all that. So I
yeah,
remember I remember that aspect. That also was the Paul George offseason that created OKC.
yeah. And apparently, Kawhi was saying he might have stayed if they could have done a package for OG and oh God, who else was it? Siakam for Westbrook and Paul George to go to Toronto. Isn't that crazy? That was reported by Woj. That was nuts. I was like, holy shit, dude. Yeah, it was real. It was like Kawhi said if you can get a Russell Westbrook, Paul George trade to Toronto, I'll stay. And they were like, can't get it done.
Well,
And yeah,
if you think about it, he would have been leaving a ton of money on the table.
yeah,
But
taxes.
well, that
Okay.
yeah.
Before
Well, we're
before
talking
we
LA,
go,
brother. There's a lot of taxes over there too now.
yeah, thanks, new scum. Come on. Yeah,
Karen Bass.
but he's yeah. We got we gotta get Spencer Pratt up in here. That'll save us. The
I,
Hills.
I would have voted for Pratt in there. I'll be
Oh my
honest.
God, you've
I'm being
changed,
honest.
Sterling. You've changed. Nah, honestly, okay, this is not a politics podcast, but Karen Bass ain't done that good of a job. Okay, before we go, now I just gave New York all the praises, and they're not going to care what I say. And have a good time, destroy your city, do whatever you want. Okay, it's your championship. You
Remember,
guys
it
probably
chose
won't
on
get none.
Zoran.
Yeah, exactly. Um, it's okay. They're gonna fix the potholes are fixed, so at least they're not breaking ankles in there. Um, but I will say I have thought about this. The Knicks are a very, 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 very good team. I don't think they're a great team. And I think they got really lucky playing a Sixers team without Embiid after they got healthy for 1 week and beat Boston. They played a Cavs team that was deeply, deeply flawed and just had to play a Pistons team that could not score. And Jalen Duren felt like if Jalen Duren is Jalen Duren in the regular season to playoffs, Detroit probably gets by Cleveland pretty easy, and they give New York a much tougher series because of that defensive identity that they have. And then if OKC doesn't get, and now there's a lot of what ifs, and I'm not taking anything away from their championship, okay? But I'm just saying what it is. And if OKC's healthy, wins that series, and then goes on and plays the Knicks, I think they probably beat the Knicks. But they didn't, and New York is champions, and congratulations to them. But as far as compared to, I saw somebody say that they were the best, they were the third best champ over the last decade, only besides the 17 and 18 Warriors, which was crazy. They also had the 17 Warriors ranked ahead of the 18 Warriors, which is just nuts. The 18 Warriors were the greatest team in the history of basketball. But I'm going to go year by year. You tell me when I get to a team that you think that this Knicks roster would beat, that this Knicks team would beat. Okay. 2025 Thunder,
No,
2024 Celtics. I know
no.
your answer to that. You better not, or else the pod is done. Uh, 23 Nuggets
It'd be close. That'd
would
be
be
close.
close.
That's maybe. That's a maybe.
It's an
But
interesting.
it's not a for sure.
It's
That's a
an
maybe.
interesting one because that Nuggets team also didn't play anybody or beat anybody good. You know, they still have never beat a 52 win plus team in the playoffs, the Nuggets.
No, didn't know that.
Isn't that nuts? So yeah, that one would be close. I'm probably still taking Jokic just because, like, I don't think he was gonna be stopped at that playoffs. Also, he wouldn't have choked, down every game. 2021 Bucks.
The Bucks that year were great, and that was Giannis at his best. So
Yeah.
I would say that team was better than the Nuggets. So
Probably the last probably the most comparable great closeout game that to Brunson's 45 in game 5 was Giannis in game 6. What did he do? 50, 20, and like 10. It was nuts.
he did
Um,
that with like a torn ACL too. I mean, his knee bent the wrong way. I couldn't believe that
yeah,
he was like he didn't
dude,
die.
if his knee isn't good that run, Giannis is remembered a lot differently because he doesn't get out of the finals. Um, 2020 Lakers.
The Lakers were winning. That was like the rest and stuff. That was a great Lakers team.
Yeah. That was a great Lakers team, and they traded away everybody that was good on that team. 2019 Raptors.
Um, the Knicks are better than that team.
Okay. Okay. So we go
Kawhi was
down
great. Kawhi was great, but the Knicks were better than that team.
okay, so we go down 7 years, and then Warriors, obviously not. Cavs, shit on them, and then 15 Warriors, maybe. So, like, when I
Yeah.
see them being ranked 3rd out of the last 10 champs, that's just crazy to me, like, because 'cause they're 8th and potentially 9th. So that's what I wanted to say is everybody calm your jets.
This is why I hate New York, dude, and I hate LA. I hate like I these are the cities where they have so many fans from all over where whenever they win something, it's huge. Obviously, I say that as a Boston fan across everything, which is just like laughable and it's a hypocritic type statement. But the whole point is the New York fans when they win, it's different. It's a different situation. You have people all over. I'm in Boston. I was watching Game 1. Um, there was a ton of Knicks fans. Go to New York. Go take the train, watch the game there, and come back. It's like a 3-hour train ride. Take a plane. Duh. But like there's so many New Yorkers, and I mean they were going over to the Spurs. That the game 5 was basically 50-50, you
Yeah.
know. And if I was a Spurs fan, I'm outside that stadium and I'm roughing someone up.
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
You're not leaving Texas with a
That's
with
well,
your
that's what
teeth
they were
in.
doing. I heard stories from Spurs fans that, like, had to scurry out of the stadium, didn't go in certain areas. They got bottles thrown at them. They said some Spurs fans were, like, driving around with eggs because a Knicks fan hit Victor Wembanyama with an egg. So they were trying to get their get back.
I don't blame them, honestly. When people are coming from New York and they're taking up all the seats there,
Mugging.
I I wouldn't be mugging anybody, but I do understand the verbal accosting of these rich fucks because
Sure.
New York is a different place than the rest of the world, and there's like 400,000 millionaires in New York, which is just absurd. But like they're able to travel to San Antonio because they got priced out of New York, and then obviously there's I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I don't think there's many people from San Antonio that went to New York City for the games because
Yeah.
I
You
it's a
don't
little
you don't
different
think?
of price there. Yeah, so it's I do think that was annoying from just like
Greg
a
Abbott
bystander.
didn't make the trip?
Don't think he got out there. They got rid of the ramps.
Oh, MSG's not wheelchair accessible?
Dolan said no.
Honestly, if any stadium wasn't, I wouldn't put it past Dolan to not have, like, the ACA regulation stadium.
Well, that and now the Blazers guy, but you know Portland won't
Yeah.
let that pass. But he's probably trying to get out of that.
Go on Facebook Marketplace and you see some guy selling wheelchair ramps in the greater Portland area, and it's just Tom Dundon trying to make a quick buck.
He's like, this is for the players to eat.
Yeah.
We're getting some
Yeah.
lunch. We're getting some lunch money.
We're gonna put that outside of DeAndre Ayton's house, so next time we have a snowstorm, he can leave his house. Oh, the
But
Blazers. It's
well, the
too bad
Hurricanes
about
won the finals,
Giannis.
so
It's too bad about Giannis and the Greece thing because Portland would be a great landing spot for him, and you never know, they might just send it and trade for him anyway because, it's gonna be one of the better packages for, Green Bay for Milwaukee.
Who else is supposed to be moved? It's Giannis is the big piece, and then it would be Jalen is another guy. So outside of those two, who are the other
KD
possible?
KD could move again.
That'd be good for the Spurs, actually.
Yeah, that would actually be a nice little pickup in there. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. There'll be a couple surprises. There'll be a couple surprises,
Yeah,
but we'll see. Yeah,
LeBron.
what?
LeBron's not going to
LeBron?
get traded, but
Yeah,
he's gonna. I think
LeBron
he's going.
LeBron to the Warriors is certainly potentially gonna happen. We'll see. I don't think he's going back to Cleveland.
No,
He already got him a ring. I don't think he needs to, like, if he ever goes back to Cleveland, it's to sign a one day to, like, retire a Cav for some reason, but that would be it.
he likes good weather.
He
Like
does.
he's not going back to to Cleveland for a year.
The Akron Hammer is done with the cold weathers of
Yeah,
Akron.
yeah, he's not going there. It's either staying in LA or going to Golden State.
Yeah. But we'll talk free agency, we'll talk draft coming up here. I'm excited for that. But that'll do it for us today. Congratulations, I guess, to the New York Knicks, returning a championship to the probably basketball capital of the world. So I guess that's great and cool for them. I'm happy for their fans that are actually good people and have been waiting 53 years. Um, and it's good for the city. It's good for the NBA that Victor Wembanyama was not crowned king quite yet, and that New York and the ratings and everything from it is going to lift up the sport of basketball. And shout out to both teams. I actually like a lot of the guys on both teams, except for you, De'Aaron Fox. So it was a very likable series. I didn't have a ton of hate in my heart during the series for any of the players. Um, it was a great series. They gave us everything we wanted out of 5 games. Best 5 game series probably in my life. So shout out to both teams. And that's it on a 2026 season. And thank you, Sterling, for hopping on. Always a pleasure, my friend. Guys, when he gets his football podcast going again, make sure to check it out. Backseat Quarterback. You can also follow him on the social medias. He posts great TikTok reels and photos. Instagram reels and photos. Good follow, Sterling Retke. And make sure you follow it and like and subscribe this podcast as well too. But we'll be back at you next week with all the off season stuff. We're getting going on that. So Sterling, thank you, my friend.
Thank you. French
All right.
kiss.
Oui, oui. Thank you guys for listening.